So, is this a sign of what's to come as liberal cities across the country continue to ignore federal immigration laws? Joining me now, the founder of the American Truth Project and Daily Ledger contributor, Barry Nussbaum. Barry, let's dive into the specifics of Richmond, California. So these lawmakers in Richmond allege that what the Trump administration did in regards to immigration is unconstitutional. Well, it turns out that an Obama-appointed judge slapped them down.
Well, you can't win every goofy argument all the time, Stephanie, although it sure seemed like they were on a roll recently. Literally, little tiny towns like Richmond are trying to affect national policy on the same vein as Hawaii suing the federal government because immigration policy that's restrictive to Muslim-speaking countries will impact tourism in Hawaii, even though there are no tourists here from the Middle East. This is what happens when you have courts literally making law and the plaintiffs shop their court. In other words, they go to a court that usually has a liberal-leaning judge and they know exactly how they're going to rule. Except in Richmond's case, an Obama judge finally said, enough's enough. You have no standing.
Yeah, this was quite a surprise. I wasn't expecting the judge to rule that way. And we see all these other lawsuits popping up, one in Chicago and then more in California. The latest to join in on the lawsuit is Los Angeles, and they're joining San Francisco. And again, they have this same legal argument, which is that they believe that it is unconstitutional for the government to withhold funds to their cities if they don't follow immigration law. But that isn't unconstitutional.
You know, I'm not going to argue as a lawyer, but I just want to talk about logic, citizen to citizen here. Doesn't it seem disingenuous, Steph, that all these cities are suing the government to be able to not enforce the law? In other words, another way to look at it is, we want to break the law. We don't want you, federal government, telling us to enforce the law. So we want a court to say it's okay for our city to encourage lawbreakers. Honestly, it's craziness, especially week after week after week. You're reporting on violent crime committed by people who have been harbored by these cities and not deported, or, I don't know, deported 15, 16, 20 times, and they come back and commit violent crime, drug dealing, and worse.
Yeah, and so what we see in Texas is obviously completely different from California. Texas, they went off on their own, created SB4, which is their own policy to ban cities from becoming sanctuary cities or declaring themselves a sanctuary city. Now, this law will go into effect in about 2 weeks, and obviously the left, they're up in arms, they're furious, they're foaming at the mouth, calling it a racist bill, that they're going to target anyone who's tan and, you know, try to round them up and send them to wherever. So this is really important. So this state is going off on their own, and they're actually boosting the Trump administration's effort.
Yeah, I'm really pleased to see Texas, at least on the statewide level, Stephanie, taking the lead to, hey, here's something novel. Let's enforce the law, and let's make a law on the state level to support the federal law. Honestly, it's the height of absurdity that every state in the country is not following Texas. All Texas is saying is all of the cities in Texas must enforce all the laws. No selective enforcement, no decision by a city council to be a sanctuary city where we take in people who committed the crime of breaking into the country and possibly more crime while they're in our city, and we're going to harbor them. Doesn't it seem like every state should be just like Texas?
Yeah, or if they could just follow immigration law, that would be great. Then they wouldn't have to even come up with these bills. Now, Jeff Sessions, our Attorney General, he's made it clear that sanctuary policies fuel criminal activity. And we've seen the statistics that show that cities that are, you know, deem themselves sanctuary cities tend to have more crime. Now, this is just fact. So why would these lawmakers, why would they allow for this? And then their argument is that, well, victims of crimes, they won't report to police because they're afraid of deportation. This has already been debunked. We know that these people get immunity from police if they report a crime. So we have the mainstream media and these lawmakers fear-mongering about this just to get their political point across.
Yeah, let's tell the truth right now. And the truth is this, Stephanie, there are a great number of cities led by progressive elected legislators on the city council and the mayoral level who want open borders. Everything else is just a ruse, saying it's discriminatory, saying it's racist, saying it's an improper immigration policy. The truth is, the federal government is the sole body that determines who comes into the country and under what rules. And it's not appropriate for localities to decide they're going to make their own laws. Not as far as being part of the United States is concerned. Federal law is federal law, and it trumps a local mayor or a city council who says, you know what? Everyone that's here illegally, we're going to come up with 50 excuses why you can stay. That is poppycock and very dangerous for the rest of their citizens.